Hello and welcome to Art with Mrs Beaufeaux. Today we're going to talk about the idea, the art concept of magnification, and we're going to make some magnified, awesome flowers. So this is my created flower that I made, and I want you to notice how it falls off of the side of my picture plane. So it looks like we've really zoomed in on this flower. Let's get started. The art concept we're talking about today is that of magnification. Magnifying can be defined as making something appear larger than it is, especially with a lens or a microscope. We can bring attention to a specific part of our image or the subject of our image by magnifying it. Today, we'll be magnifying flowers. We want to make them look like they're bigger than the page we are putting them on. Let's take a look at how some photographers and other type of artists made this happen with these individual images. I want you to notice how you can't see the outside part of any of these flowers. Some part of it almost looks like it's falling off of the side of the picture plane. That's our goal today. I also want you to notice how the center of the flower is not always in the center of the image. That makes visual interest for the audience. Before we get too far started, I have made these worksheets for us to practice some different flower styles. The first one we're going to start with is a tulip. Then we're moving on to a sunflower, a double petal flower, and finally, your own style of flower. And starting with our tulip shape, we're going to start with the center, making a raindrop shape, adding 2 rainbows at the top, curve in, and then curve out. There's our tulip. Moving on to the sunflower, we're going to start with a big circle, add some spiky petals around, and add texture to the center. I'm just going to add a couple diagonal lines. Finally, our double flower, we're going to start by drawing some little wavy lines, and we're going to kind of overlap them together. As you can see, each petal gets bigger as we go out, and they connect the different petals underneath. Finally, you're going to draw any flower shape that you already know how. I'm kind of making a daisy, and this isn't a very clean daisy. It has a small center and long, skinny petals. I'm excited to see what you come up with. When you've completed that, you can start on your big project. By this time, you should know what flower you want to zoom in on. Name, date, and class on the back. Then think about where's the center of your flower. I'm going to put my center on that top portion. I'm going to do a combination of a double petal flower and something that kind of looks like a sunflower shape. I'm using points, and I'm just doing it with a thin Sharpie marker. The next step for this, after we've added all of our lines and textures, is to outline or overline those spots with some big Crayola markers. Now that you see what I've done with my markers, I'm going to prep some watercolor paints, those same colors that I did before. Now I'm going to take those colors and fill in those sections of my flower. You can see that I've prepped my paints, which means I put water in each palette so that it can soak in while I'm working with the other colors. Make sure that you're cleaning your brush in between each color to ensure that you keep your nice fresh watercolor paints nice and fresh. Was short and sweet. We talked about magnifying an image, and we talked about the borders of our picture plane. As you can see, I've done a created flower here. I used lots of different colors, and the art tools I used included a pencil for the back, a skinny Sharpie marker, some thick Crayola markers, and watercolor paints. This has been Art with Mrs Beaufeaux. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you soon.